The death toll from flooding and mudslides in the capital, Freetown, continues to rise. At least 400 people have been confirmed dead. 600 others are still missing. Aid agencies are stepping up their assistance, but unstable terrain and ongoing rain are hampering recovery operations there.
Clearly, we have mobilized immediately. We from OCHA's side are standing up, mounting what we call an UNDAC mission, UN Disaster and Assessment Coordination Mission. It will be a total of 7 people. They will begin to deploy today.
Trauma is a major issue for those affected by the tragedy. Hundreds of lives have been lost and many families displaced. Psychosocial support will be critical to help people manage the grief and loss they suffered as a result.
Right now, for more on this story, Dr. Richard Munang now joins us live in studio. He is the Environment and Regional Climate Change Coordinator for UNEP. Doctor, to what extent do human-made elements such as deforestation, overbuilding, climate change all contribute to this disaster?
Thank you very much, Maria, for having me in studio. And our sympathies and condolences goes out to those who have lost their lives in Sierra Leone and also those who have been affected by this disaster. Sierra Leone and across Africa, the science is unequivocally clear that with the changing climate, events like these will continue to happen. And climate change, which is a contributing factor also to human elements like deforestation and encroachment, are actually contributing to these disasters. As we're speaking today, the National Climate Change Prediction Center in the United States have actually come out with a report which shows that Sierra Leone have actually received 3 times the annual rainfall for the month of July and August. And as a result of these, the month of August alone have received 535.9 millimeters of water. But this is happening in Freetown, where Freetown have a land surface area of just about 356.9 square kilometers, and it has actually received 190 million cubic meters of this rainfall. So if you look at this surface area and coupled with the human aspects of deforestation and encroachment and building in these flood-prone areas, it's only helping to exacerbate this disaster that we're seeing.
And how prevalent is these elements in other African cities? And could we say that it's getting worse?
Actually, as we're speaking today, the world temperature is at 1.1 degree, which is just 0.4 degrees away from the 1.5 degree where the Paris Climate Change Agreement, where the whole world in December came together to adopt to limit dangerous temperatures from 2 degrees. But as we are heading towards 2 degrees, which is dangerous climate change, African countries are going to see sea level rise 14 times higher than the global mean. And what this means to the African continent, with almost about 30 countries in their coastline, the coastline of 36,000 kilometers, will see flooding, displacing people, destroying touristic sites, destroying infrastructure and disrupting food supply chains. And this will inflict pain on so many people. And as a result of this, as we're speaking today, $68 billion is being lost as a result of environmental degradation. And this literally means $186 million going down the drain every day. So ecological degradation is only helping to destabilize the soil, and in mountainous area will result into mudslides, into landslides, and these, if not tackled, we are only going to see worse with the changing climate today.
Now, Dr. Munang, is Freetown the city that's most likely at risk from these disasters, or are there other African cities that are at risk?
Sierra Leone is actually the third most vulnerable country in the world, coming after Bangladesh and Guinea-Bissau. But more so, Freetown is one of the most vulnerable, but climate change doesn't respect borders. Climate change doesn't respect boundaries. And therefore, all African countries are also vulnerable to this. And despite the fact that Freetown is the most vulnerable, the Paris Climate Change Agreement, which was ratified or adopted by 195 countries, with all 54 African countries being signatories to this, as we're speaking today, almost about 70% of African countries have ratified. It means that no country being immune to climate change have to start now implementing actions which can build resilience and at the same time also provide opportunities to address the challenges which we call them the triangle of disaster, ecological degradation, poverty, and also unemployment.
Okay, and speaking of actions, what steps can cities maybe that are at risk take to mitigate these risks?
Already, African cities are urbanizing at a rate that has never been seen anywhere. And as a result of this, most people who are moving to cities are actually not moving to cities because they're going to get employment, because the unemployment and even underemployment in cities is actually increasing. 55% of housing, more high costs, 35% of food prices increase. And as a result of this, it is therefore very important that diversification, which provides the best security in any systems, and also the decentralization of socio-economic opportunity to local areas to provide alternatives in areas whereby unemployment can be addressed, like agricultural sector, like the energy sector, whereby what is produced, and almost about 70% of what is produced is produced in rural areas. So if these local areas and rural areas can be turned into agro-industrial zones, then definitely value added to what is produced will not only build resilience, but ensure that so many people don't experience the fear of want.
All right, Dr. Richard Munang, thank you very much for that insight and for speaking to us here on Africa Live. Dr. Richard Munang speaking to us live here in studio. He is the Regional Climate Change Coordinator with UNEP.